professor of biological chemistry, molecular pharmacology, and pediatrics at the lot at Harvard Medical School. He has obtained the MD and the PhD from Harvard and MIT, respectively. Then after internship in medicine and postdoctoral fellowship, all of those in Boston, has been a very productive faculty member since that time, including a appointment as an investigator in the Howard Hughes Medical Institute as of 2008. He's been elected to the ASCI, and we at NIH are particularly proud of being able to point to the fact that he was one of the first Pioneer Award winners from our first class of 2004. And point to his achievements and that of some of those other Pioneer awardees as an indication of what a successful program that has turned out to be. He is not only someone who has led the scientific enterprise in stem cells. George has been very much willing to spend some of his time as well in the public policy aspects of this, has been an articulate and effective interface in terms of talking with the public, with the Congress, with other decision makers about what the opportunities are here and also about important policy considerations. He's been a real friend to NIH over the course of the past few years. He came and spoke to the Institute directors at a recent leadership forum, and it was a wonderful opportunity to be able to pick his brain. He continues to be very helpful in advising us about our plans to, in the intramural program here, make a real focus on induced pluripotent stem cells by the recruitment of a director for a center that will focus particularly on the efforts to take this really exciting science in the direction of clinical applications. So George, we're really grateful for the time and effort you put into advising us, and we're thrilled that you're here today. Please welcome George Daly.
Thank you. Don't forget Dev 2 study section. It's always an absolute thrill to come to NIH. I have to say that, every time coming into Washington is just very, very special. And I felt a real sense of excitement when I met with a number of your postdocs for lunch, that there are new and creative ways that the community is thinking about exploiting this new and incredibly exciting technology around cellular engineering and induced pluripotency. And my goal today is to tell a number of stories about how we're approaching the biology of reprogramming of pluripotency and using it model disease, but initially to explore this fascinating biology of turning a cell back from its specialized state into a reprogrammed pluripotent cell. But I'll also talk about some of the lessons we've learned about the limitations of disease modeling and the fact that there are still valuable lessons to be learned from modeling using embryonic stem cells, and indeed valuable lessons to be learned from reprogramming through somatic cell nuclear transfer. So the stem cell concept has found its way into medicine for decades. Hematopoietic stem cell transplantation is one of the great triumphs of modern biomedicine, and indeed we have curative therapy, but there are significant limitations, and applications outside of the hematopoietic system are limited, and I think that's where much of the promise of stem cells are. The real boost to the field came in 1998 when Jamie Thompson's group isolated human embryonic stem cells, a pluripotent cell, the cell with the potential to become any tissue in the body, and therefore offer previously inaccessible approaches to linking gene function to tissue formation, creating a buzz in the pharmaceutical industry that one might have novel cell-based therapies or novel approaches to toxicity testing using real human cells. But of course, much of the long-term ambition is to move beyond the in vitro tools to actually create cells for transplantation. So it's taken the better part of the 20th century for chemistry to be turned to the service of medicine, that is, the production of small molecules and their delivery of drugs. I think part of the excitement of the next 100 years, and it really may take much of the 21st century, is to be able to harness cells in medicine. Now, embryonic stem cells, which we've now had for the past decade or more, are really generic tools, and they do facilitate research on generic issues. But much of what I'll talk about today is the long-term ambition of stem cell research, which is to capture the ability to make customized and patient-specific stem cells. Now, when I was at the Whitehead Institute, my laboratory collaborated with Rudolf Ganu, and a proof of principle that we could indeed capture the sort of dual technology for somatic cell nuclear transfer that creates a patient-specific tissue. I hesitate to use the word cloning, but here we're talking about cloning cells. And technology for directed differentiation of these pluripotent cells into a tissue of interest, in this case, the hematopoietic stem cell. So in this case, our patient is an immune-deficient WAG2 knockout mouse, a model of human Omen syndrome, severe combined immune deficiency, and using tail-tip cloning technology that has been pioneered by Teru Wakayama, where literally one simply clips the tip of the tail of the mouse, crosses tail-tip fibroblast, and then performs nuclear transfer into a recipient oroplasm, acts upon the incoming somatic nucleus in a way not dissimilar to the way it would actively prevent the incoming sperm pronucleus is ready for genome activation. One generates the pseudozygote that artificially activate N1 cells in the embryo from which it can derive gene transfer. ES cells. Now these cells would carry the gene defect of the parent, and through homologous recombination, one can quite readily perform gene correction. We demonstrated in this experiment that the gene repair stem cells could generate a clone mouse which had an entirely intact immune system. But in a proof of principle, we then differentiated these into hematopoietic stem cells engrafted the mouse and restored partial immune function. It was partial circa 2002. We're now in a position where we can affect complete hematopoietic engraftment from mouse embryonic to pluripotent stem cells. But we're still limited because we are required to genetically modify these cells to drive engraftment. And one of the great goals of our lab, and I would embrace for the community, is to learn how to direct the formation of hematopoietic stem cells in a completely genetically pristine manner, both from mouse and human pluripotent derivatives. Now, our hope in the early part of the last decade was that we could affect the same kind of proof of principle using human cells and human nucleus transfer. But indeed, this has never been successful, in part because human oocytes are in short supply, but I think in large part because this is a very cumbersome and challenging strategy. I don't think there was ever a practical alternative for modeling a large number of diseases. I think our hope all along was that it would teach us the principles of reprogramming in such a way that we could get to the more direct and facile method of direct reprogramming. And this was, in fact, the substance of my original application as an NIH pioneer grantee. And during the time that we were attempting to affect reprogramming of spermatogonial